Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is leading aircraftswoman Madison Tough. 2026 marks 125 years of dedicated service by the Australian Army and its predecessors. Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private Alexander McKissock and warmly welcome his family who are in attendance this evening. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Return and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Thank you. If you're able, you may be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private Alexander McKissock. Alexander McKissock was born in December 1889 to Hugh and Margaret McKissock in Coburg, a northern suburb of Melbourne. He was the seventh of 8 children, 2 of whom died in infancy. Known as Alex, he attended Moonee Ponds West School. After leaving school, he worked locally as a horse driver. In 1907, Alex married Amy Stonnell, and the couple eventually had 3 children. In August 1914, Britain declared war on Germany. After Germany invaded neutral Belgium. In July 1915, McKissock volunteered for service in the Australian Imperial Force and was accepted. He began his army training at Broadmeadows Camp, north of Melbourne. In October 1915, he departed Melbourne on board the transport ship Nestor. Arriving in Egypt in the new year, McKissock joined the 14th Australian Infantry Battalion and trained with the unit in the large army camps outside Cairo. At the beginning of June, the 14th Battalion sailed to Marseille in southern France, and from there travelled by train north to the region around the Somme River. In July, the British and Allied forces launched an enormous attack on German positions in this sector. Australian units attacked the German-occupied French village of Pozières. It was there that the 14th Battalion first entered the trench warfare of the Western Front. During the assault, McKissock was struck by shrapnel in his chest and left leg and badly wounded. He was taken to hospital in the coastal city of Etabola, but in September his wounds worsened when he contracted tetanus. He was evacuated to a military hospital in England, where he gradually recovered. After leaving hospital, McKissock began training again in England. In February 1917, he sailed to France and rejoined the 14th Battalion. His unit was stationed east of the city of Albert. During March, German forces staged a strategic withdrawal to a series of strongpoints known as the Hindenburg Line. British and Allied units pressed forward against the new German positions. In their wake, the German forces had left numerous mines and booby traps. In late March, the 14th Battalion's headquarters were in a cellar when a time-delayed mine exploded, killing 4 soldiers of the unit. In April, the unit advanced further east, and the men prepared for an assault on the Hindenburg Line. The objective for the Australians was the village of Belcourt, which had been occupied and strongly fortified by German forces. The weather was still wet and cold, and snow lay on no man's land between the Australian and German trenches. German artillery and sniper fire caused casualties in the Australian ranks as they formed up in the front line. In the early hours of the 11th of April 1917, men of the 14th Battalion charged across no man's land. The plan for the assault was for tanks to attack, with the infantry following up, but the tanks proved far less effective than hoped. Most of the tanks broke down or became bogged, leaving the infantry uncovered in the face of intense rifle, machine gun, and artillery fire. At some point in the battle, McKissock went missing. In November 1917, 6 months after the battle, a court of inquiry found that he had been killed in action on the day of battle. He was 27 years old. Alex McKissock's body was never found. His name is inscribed on the Villa Breton Memorial, which commemorates more than 10,000 Australian First World War soldiers who died in France and have no known grave. In Australia, McKissock was survived by his widow, Amy, and their 3 children, Walter, Amy, and Hilda. Private Alexander McKissock is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, amongst almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. A photograph of his name, listed on the Villa Bretonneau Memorial, is displayed today beside the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Alexander McKissock, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We'll remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.